Well, they've had their say. Seems like they've had that kind of say around here for too long. I had to stand up for myself alone. I went in there to remind them that somewhere in this world there's still a little law and order left. To let them know in the only kind of terms that their kind understand is that they can't bribe, or threaten their way out of what they did. Let them do this to me and get away with it, and you give them the eternal right to do the same damn thing to any one of you.
All right, y'all. So I hadn't said a whole lot about this on this page or this channel, but I'm putting it out there now. In 6 months, my name will go on the ballot for Harrison County Sheriff under the Democratic Party. That's right, y'all. Not only do I battle grifters and call out corruption and, run my mouth on here, I also have a plan to do something about said grifters, said corruption, said misconduct. And I want to tell y'all what my plans are. As y'all know, I'm about as straight shooting, straight talking as you can get. There is no politician in me. I am not a politician. I don't give a damn about the political part of running for sheriff. I'm not out here to kiss babies. I'm not out here to tell you what I think you want to hear. I'm out here to tell you the truth, and if you don't like that, don't vote for me. Period. Straight up. I'm coming hard, fast, and aggressive on here because this is exactly how I plan on coming if you vote for me and make me your next sheriff of Harrison County, Mississippi. I plan on coming hard, fast, and aggressively at those who violate the law. Specifically, number one thing I'm going after: drugs and human trafficking. And why am I specifically lumping those two together? Is number one, I hate drugs and I really hate human trafficking. Human trafficking is akin to slavery as far as I'm concerned. It is slavery. It is modern slavery. We claim that we have outlawed slavery in this country in 1865 with the passage of the 13th Amendment, but yet we practice it just about every day in some fashion or form. It is practiced in this country actively. Millions of people are victims of human trafficking in this country. And a lot of it goes back to drugs. They go hand in hand. So yes, I'm cracking down on it. There will be stings. There will be several different target areas that I'm going after, that I know where this stuff is happening. It's not hard. Drive down 90, you can see it. Drive up 49, you can see it. It's not that hard to find them. I mean, hell, the internet makes it easy to find it, and if criminals were stupid, or criminals were smart, we'd never catch them. If criminals were smart, I wouldn't have had a job in corrections for so long. Let's talk about my experience before I go any further. I had 5 years in corrections. And some of y'all say, well, what does that have to do with running for sheriff and being sheriff? You want to know what it means? It means I've got 5 years of psychology dealing with some of the best manipulators in the world. I have 5 years of standing surrounded amongst hundreds, either by myself or with 3 or 4 other trained correctional officers in a yard in Florida or in a dorm, in a yard in Mississippi, because I've done corrections Florida, Mississippi, briefly in Ohio. I'm going to tell y'all right now, if you can handle behind the gate, the street really ain't that bad. Just a little bit more political on the street. Which brings me to my next point, that there will be absolutely no political favors. I don't care if you are my best friend or you're my worst enemy. I don't care if you are the President of the United States or if you are Joe Shit the Rag Man. You're getting the same treatment from me. I don't care who you are. The law is for everybody. There is no favors. There is no backdoor deals that will be had in my office. I don't care. I am not for sale. I don't care who your daddy was. I don't care who you work for. I don't care what position of power you hold. You violate the law, you're going to pay the price. If one of my deputies pulls you over and gives you a ticket, and you're some political big shot and you come knock on my office, or you're some, moneyed big shot, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to place you in handcuffs. And you're going right to the jail. You come to my office trying to get me to take back a ticket because you don't like it, you're going in handcuffs. And I'm not saying that Matt Haley would do any less. I don't know that he would or wouldn't. I haven't heard him say as much. I'm pretty sure he would, though. But I'm telling you what I'm going to do. I don't care. You could be my best friend. You could be my brother. You could be one of my sisters. You violate the law, you get what you get coming to you. I'm not giving any quarter for you. Only quarter you're going to get if you come to me begging is you're going to get a cell. Period. I don't care. If you are a police officer or a sheriff's department deputy and I catch you violating the law in uniform, I've got a place to put you. I'll make sure that you're there too. Don't worry. Let's talk about some of the other things I want to do that I think is important. Mental health. Matt Haley, when he ran in 2023, said that he wouldn't lock up somebody simply for being mentally ill. And since then, I've seen a lot of these bums running around on the street. Yeah, I'm going to call them what they are. They bums. These ones that go in downtown Biloxi and, raise hell right there across the Beau Rivage and, hoot and holler and all this other craziness. It's pretty bad that one of the biggest tourist spots in the state of Mississippi is the Beau Rivage. It is easily the most recognizable tourist spot in the state. It's actually the largest building in the state, for those of y'all who did not know. And you go right across the street to that Shell station, that Waffle House over there. You go over behind the hospital, or you go over there around Rue Magnolia and all that. Jackson Street, Water Street. I like walking in that area. I've been walking and or riding my bicycle in that area mostly at night since I was a teenager. I used to be out after curfew. I'd go through there. I'd ride my bicycle through there. Why? I think it's a beautiful area. I love it. Right over there by old Magnolia Hotel and Mary Mahoney's and all that. I love that area. But you know what? When I came back from Florida in September of 2020, when I moved back from Miami, I almost had to use some pretty heavy force against somebody who come up, kept getting in my face, and I didn't know what the guy was on, but he was just acting crazy, jumping up, bowing up. I thought he's going to do something. And I reached in like that to where I had my 45 in a shoulder holster. He backed away really quickly. But I don't remember seeing that when I was a kid. I remember that if you were a kid and you acted crazy, you went to one of these mental health facilities that we had on the coast. If not, went to jail. Well, guess what? Mental health budget in the state of Mississippi is low and they don't care. So I got an idea. How about I asked the Harrison County Board of Supervisors to allow me to expand the jail, which the building is meant to do. That building, you can add a few more stories on it. Now, why can't we have a mental health wing? I think we should. I think it's high time we have a mental health wing. Speaking of expanding the jail, I would also like to have open bay dorms instead of two-man cells. With an open bay dorm, we can house more inmates. With an open bay dorm, we can control things a little bit better. And we can also gain intel into STGs, security threat groups, otherwise known as gangs, by having open bay dorms. It works in Florida. It works in just about every other state. It works in Stone County. I think it could work in Harrison County. And it would also expand the capacity of the jail without having to expand the workforce of the jail, which means that we can do more with less. I'm not saying I'm going to put anybody out of a job, because I certainly feel that we need every correctional officer we have there, and I'd much rather have more than I need on shift than less, just for the simple guise of officer safety and keeping the facility safe. But I do believe with an open bay dorm, we can do a lot more with a lot less, and then we don't have to send them to Stone County. And I'm not saying that we're still sending them to Stone County, but I know when I worked there in 2022, we were certainly receiving Harrison County inmates. And here's the bad thing about it. If you were a Harrison County inmate brought from Biloxi, Gulfport, Long Beach, past Christian, or D'Iberville, and you were brought to Stone County, all you had to do was say, I'm going to kill myself, and we got to cut you loose. Well, let's fix that. Let's keep everything in-house. Speaking of mental health, I would like to put a mental health counselor. I want 2 on each shift. These mental health counselors will be available to any police department, or if the sheriff's department needs them, anywhere in the county. They're available. They need to be trained in CIT and CNT. CIT is crisis intervention techniques, and CNT is crisis negotiation techniques. They will be certified in both. And they don't necessarily have to be sworn law enforcement. They just have to be trained by a medical professional on how to negotiate and de-escalate these situations. That way we can minimize the use of force necessary when dealing with an individual who is out of his mind or her mind. They can bring them back to earth. They can negotiate, de-escalate, get the person into custody, get them to the county jail, and at the county jail, we can make sure that they get the help they need. I believe that this is an essential function of the sheriff's department. Another thing that I want to train on, and speaking of the jail, is PREA. Mississippi does not take the Prison Rape Elimination Act very seriously. Mississippi the MCASA director of the state, who I actually met at the Stone County Regional Correctional Facility, argued with me that it was 100% acceptable for a correctional officer to be engaged in a sexual relationship with an inmate. I am telling you that that is false, and I am telling you that if that happens under my administration, I will prosecute the correctional officer and make sure that they never work in corrections again, and they leave out of there with a felony as a registered sex offender. As they should. I plan on sitting down with the district attorney to make sure that we can make that happen, because it sets a dangerous tone inside the prison or inside the jail. Not to mention, it's federal law. Federal. And it's federal law that has been the law for 23 years. Started in 2003. It's 2026. It's time Mississippi got on board with it. Contraband interdiction inside the jail. I want to put a canine at every entry and exit point, along with a body scanner and a metal detector. During visitation, I want that dog to go out there and go sniff cars and see if we can find drugs out there. I want them to sniff people coming in, and if that dog likes your smell, you better give it up. Because if you got it on you, we got a place to put you, and we going to put you there on felony charges of introduction of contraband to a correctional facility. I want inmates' mail to be scanned and electronically sent to them, forwarded to them. Minimizing contraband coming into the prison. And by the way, I don't mean this just for visitors. This is for COs too, because I will admit, as a former correctional officer, it sickens me to admit this, but a lot of contraband that comes into the jail comes in from dirty COs and dirty staff. Anybody who disagrees with that is an idiot and doesn't know what's going on, or is completely in denial of reality. You can't blame visitors for bringing in contraband to the Harrison County Jail when there's already non-contact visitation. So now try again. Means every CO's car will be subject to search. Every CO will be subject to search. Everybody who enters a facility, you walk into the front, you're going to be subject to search. Let me back that up. Subject to search means it may not happen. You will be searched. A body scanner, an electromagnetic scanner to search for cell phones. Body scanner to look for organic material. I'm going to search your lunch bag. We're going to go to prison rules. You're going to bring it in a clear lunch bag, and I'm going to be able to see everything that's in there. Already opened beverage drinks will not be allowed. And I'll be doing tests. I might send somebody through there to go check it for me. You never know who I'm going to send. But yeah, it will be done. Contraband in the jail will stop day one, guaranteed. Or somebody's going to go find themselves a cell. Instead of going to work there, I'm going to take your uniform, I'm going to put you in the shakedown room, you're going to get shaken down, you're going to go ahead and get the same treatment that any other inmate will get. You're going to get an orange uniform, and you're going to be heading to the holding cell. And I'm going to put you in Gen Pop just like everybody else. That's how serious I am about this. I don't care. Because you're putting your coworker's life at risk. Why do I care about your life being at risk? It's that simple. I'm not playing. Let's talk about on the street. My goal is no lawsuits during my tenure. None. I want all officers and deputies to undergo retraining for use of force. There will be no excessive force allowed or tolerated under my tenure. I have never in my career used excessive force. I'm not saying I didn't want to. I'm not saying that there ain't been inmates that have just set me to that point to where I am ready to just snap on them. But I've never done it. I've kept my composure. I've kept my control. And I expect and demand the same from everybody who works for me, or you will not be working for me. I'm not a hug-a-thug by any means. I expect you to do your job. But I expect you to use the professionalism and restraint you were taught in the academy. Speaking of the academy, I want to expand it. I want to get with Sean Tyndall, who I consider a friend of mine, and I want to sit down with Sean Tyndall, and I want to try to modify the curriculum for Mississippi training academies. I cannot take away from what the state requires, but I can certainly add to it. Every deputy, every officer that goes through the Harrison County Law Enforcement Training Academy will be 100% CIT and CNT certified. That will be a requirement to pass the academy. You will be trained in de-escalation. You will be trained in tactics. You will be trained in how to deal with mental health on the street. The Harrison County Law Enforcement Training Academy will also be expanded for the Correctional Academy as well for these subjects. I'm not saying don't use force if you have to. If you have to use force, and I've certainly used my fair share of it. If you have to use force, you have to use force. There's nothing you can do about it. But when resistance stops, force stops too. It's that simple. When you achieve compliance, force must cease. That is what needs to happen. And everybody who's currently with the sheriff's department, I will take them blocks at a time and pay them to go back to the academy to get this same training. If they refuse to get the training within 6 months, they will no longer have a job. I want everybody on the same page. I don't care if you've been there for 6 months or 60 years, you're getting this training. I don't care what your job is with the sheriff's department. If you're animal control, if you're dispatcher, you're getting this training. And the reason that you're going to get this training is because it may come in handy, and it will come in handy. There's times you may have to use this. And I expect you to be ready to use it. Dispatchers and 911 operators also have the same training. 911 operators, dispatchers, yeah. You need to be able to calm somebody down on the phone to make sure that you get the pertinent information that you have to pass it to the deputies so that they have the accurate information that is required to do their job. Here's the other thing I'm going to do. Everybody current who is already there, you're going to take another polygraph. Reason you're going to take another polygraph is I want to make sure that you're doing a job and you're doing it right, or you will not be there. Polygraph and voice stress analysis, both of them. I'm going to also run you financials because I want to make sure that you are doing the best job that you can do. I want to make sure that we have honest people in the sheriff's department doing what they are supposed to do. This is not an attack on the sheriff's department. But if you have a problem with me doing any of this, then you probably have something to hide, and I'm not putting up with it. Will it cost the county money? Yes. Will it cut into my budget? Yes. Speaking of budget, I don't know what the current Harrison County Sheriff's salary is. Don't really care. I'll do it for captain's pay. So whatever a captain is making will be my salary. That's all I need to survive. I'm a single man. I could dedicate my life to this for the next 4 years. It doesn't hurt me at all. If you are a deputy and you work for me and you have a secondary employment, you're going to fill out, if you haven't already done it, a secondary employment authorization form. I want to know where your money's coming from. And I want to know that it's coming from a legitimate source. Again, this is transparency. These are things that the public has a right to know, and I, as your boss, have the right to know. I would also like to put a citizen committee together to where if we have complaints against an officer or a deputy, we will have a board of civilians from all walks of life, at least 10 of them. They'll be appointed by me. And I'll be sitting in on these committees, but I'll be sitting silent. So that I can look over, and I will let this committee make a recommendation to me on what needs to happen with this officer. Does this officer need to be retrained? Is this a frivolous complaint because a guy got arrested and got pissed off about it? Whatever the case is, I'm going to sit back and I'm going to say, okay, what's going on here? And how can we fix this? If there is a problem, if there's not a problem, we're going to throw it away and that deputy's not going to be dinged. If the deputy needs to be terminated and have a certification yanked, that's what's going to happen. I'll submit my recommendation to the Board of Law Enforcement Standards and Training, and that's it. And the deputy will be placed on unpaid administrative leave pending termination. And if they convince me otherwise, or they convince the state otherwise, they'll get their back pay, just like anybody else. The other thing I will not be doing is paid administrative unless in certain circumstances. There will be no paid administrative leave pending disciplinary unless it's something that I deem they'll probably beat. And again, I'll refer to my civilian board on that. No law enforcement will be on this board. That's how I want to do it. That's how I'm going to bring this back. Another thing I'm going to do, speaking of bringing this office back to the public access, there's a door at the jail. Behind that door is the sheriff's office. That door, you have to punch in a code to get through that door. While I'm there, that door will be removed from its hinges. That door will be taken off the hinges and placed somewhere else. My office is open. I work for you. You have a problem, you walk right in. Hey, Sheriff, we got an issue. All right. Give me a minute. Let me finish up what I'm doing and I'll make time for you. All right, I got time. Have a seat. What's going on, Mr. Smith? Mr. Jones, whatever. Tell me your problem. I work for you. Any sheriff that hides behind a locked door does not work for you. Any sheriff that hides behind a locked door and does not want to engage the public without going through 15 people to get an appointment is not your sheriff. That's somebody who holds the badge, holds the position, and doesn't care what you think. That's somebody who forgot where they came from, and they're so wrapped up in their own bureaucracy that they think that they're above you. I'm not above you. I'll work for you. You're my boss. And that's the way this is going to go. You have any questions, reach out 228-337-2099. Vote for Anthony Allen, Sheriff, Democratic Party, Harrison County, 2027. Y'all take care.